Welcome everybody to another episode of the Island Proud Business Builders. And today we have as our guest JD Schramm. And JD has so many things that he has done in the past, so much experience, but suddenly he had to shift from all of that towards creating his own private practice, which he has right now. And it's all about communication. And that's what we are going to talk about today. And I'm very happy to have you here, JD, on the podcast because
Delighted to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Stefan.
absolutely, because a year ago, you were a guest on our Queer Business Conference. And it's crazy to think that it's already been a year. Like, where does this time go? It's incredible. But I'm glad that we can talk now on your business, like how you evolved from giving all your experience in lessons towards universities and schools and so on, towards building your own business. Like, why did you make that change and how did it go?
So I'm gonna talk about. I'll answer both parts of the question. Why I made the change literally was out of necessity. I left my full-time employment at Stanford after I jokingly say I graduated from Stanford after 13 years. But it was in the midst of the pandemic where both my administrative role and my teaching role, for different reasons, vanished. And I was faced with, going out on the job market, which I did for a handful of months. But I had always had a full-time employer with a side hustle, if you will, which a lot of people in the States, talk about, a side hustle in coaching and consulting. So it was gravy. It was icing that was nice to do, but I still had a paycheck that came in every 2 weeks. And when the paycheck went away, I looked to replace that and interviewed for several things, was a finalist for a couple things inside of higher ed, outside of higher ed. But while job hunting, my practice just kept growing and kept increasing. And so I ended up just flipping the proportion. Instead of 80% of my time and income coming from one employer and 20% from all this coaching and speaking on the side, now 80% of my income and the heart of my livelihood comes from being a independent speaker and coach and trainer. And I did ultimately accept a faculty appointment at USC, University of Southern California in LA, where I teach part-time 1 night a week. And it lets me keep my finger in the classroom. I actually just taught my last class last night for the semester. And it lets me have the healthcare benefits that are so important, where we don't have socialized medicine. And so I've really flipped the proportion of what I do as an independent contractor and what I do as an employee. How it's gone, I have to acknowledge, Stefan, I struggle and I've been blessed. So both are true. I don't do a great deal of marketing and promotion of myself, and yet every couple of weeks, more business comes in, more inquiries come in, and I'm able to satisfy the clients for the most part that reach out to me. Occasionally, I will send stuff to other communication coaches or trainers, and so far it has worked well for the first full 12 months. 2023 will be starting a new year, but all of 2022, this has been the design that I've operated on. And so now what's there for me is to figure out, okay, how do I then maximize the stuff that only I can do? Is there any passive income? Are there any ways that I can grow my business without working 80 hours a week? And that's what many entrepreneurs find themselves in. And so that's where I'm at. Even though I've been doing this since 1996, I've only really been doing it full time for a little over a year.
Yeah, and I love that story because it relates to what I have done with technology as well. Where I come from the corporate world, I had to shift as well when COVID hit, and now I'm doing this full time, and it is a big shift. And but I love that you say, and for all clarity, like for people that maybe don't know you that well, you are a master in communication, right? The stuff that you do is you help leaders, you help anybody be a better communicator, right? That's what you do.
Yes.
So let that be clear. But I want to come back to the fact that you say, well, I don't do a lot of marketing, I don't do a lot of sales, but still people find me and they come to me and I get new business. And I really find that fascinating because it is an area of business growth that is often overlooked at the beginning stages, where it's just like I help somebody out and I give them so much results that they talk to somebody else that they should come to me. And I think, and I might be wrong in your case, but that is the case with what you are experiencing. It's the word of mouth that keeps you getting new customers, right?
Yeah, word of mouth is crucial in a service business.
Mhm.
Whether you're coaching or consulting or therapist or physical trainer, doing good work, I think, is the best way to get more business. Is build your reputation as somebody who serves
Yeah,
people and serves people effectively. And so, and that I have been doing. So I think
yeah,
it's good to point out that distinction, Stefan.
yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, you have a little bit the advantage of doing this for over a decade in the university setting. So people will already know you a little bit, but still doing it for yourself and you have to find the customers, then it is a business. It's not linked to an university anymore. So you have to really build it out, right? Now, how scary was that, JD? Be honest here. When you had to make the switch, were you really prepared for this?
No, I really wasn't fully prepared. Let's just, my friend Chip Conley talks about, let's have a third vault conversation. Let's just be really, really
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Um, my husband and I found a beautiful home. We decided to put in an offer. We got the offer, and we're moving to this new house, May of 2021. And frankly, he works for a church as a minister, which is not a lucrative income.
Mhm.
And at that point in time, I was unemployed. And I was like, really? We're doing this? And the bank was able to give us a loan based on the strength of my consulting income. And
Oh,
that was the moment where I was like, if First Republic thinks I can do this, maybe I can. And he and I had a lot of conversations through the first 6 months of 2021. And I said, I think I'm ready. I think this is the time I should actually establish the LLC business, tax code business here in the US, and go for it. And 1 week after we made that decision, we're in the process of moving into the new house. I get a call actually from USC that they were moving me forward for an administrative role and wanted to fly me to LA to do the final round of interviews. And I looked at Ken and I said, I think this is the test. I think this is the universe saying, okay, you said you're going to be full-time self-employed. Are you really? And I had a conversation with the folks at USC while the movers are unloading our stuff into our new house. I'm sitting in the driveway in my car. And I came to I shared with them, I said, I am not in a place right now to take on a full-time administrative role. If ever anything opens up part-time, let me know. I would love to, if there's something I can do from San Francisco or fly to LA for a week and come back, let me know. But I'm not in a place to make a full-time move to LA. And I withdrew from the process. And Stefan, the woman was very sweet. She's become a good friend of mine now. And she said, well, okay, we'll let you know if anything shows up. It's kind of like when you go on a date and
yeah.
somebody says, let's just be friends. And you
Yeah.
never hear from the guy again. That's what I felt like was happening. And 2 or 3 days later, she called me and said, I'm surprised. I didn't expect this, but we have two sections of corporate strategic communication open for the fall. Would you like to teach? I said, yes, I'd love to. And now I am about to start teaching my third round of classes for them starting in January. So yes, it was scary. And I had to stick to my guns that this is what I was going to do. And the more that you do that, I believe the universe rewards you. I could still have one more full-time employer in me if the right perfect thing came along, but I'm not spending my time out there looking for a job. I'm spending my time doing good business, doing good coaching and speaking and training, and trying to draw more of that into my universe.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's so true. If you focus on these things, things start to happen. Would you say, JD, by doing this, that you actually, I wouldn't say finally, but that you actually feel like you're really doing what you love to do and it doesn't feel as work anymore?
Parts of what I do
feel
like I'm doing what I love to do. And again, I'm just going to be transparent with you. There are certain engagements where I just finished a 4-month engagement with a group of physicians at Stanford Children's Hospital. Stanford has become one of my largest clients. I still go back and do a lot of work there. I'm just finishing a 4-week series or 4-session series on effective storytelling for a group of LGBT leaders at Uber from around the globe.
Oh, wow.
There are certain engagements that really, I'm in them and I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And there are times that sitting here facing a blank screen to do a proposal for, one more coaching engagement or one more new business development, that I get stopped or I get stymied. Managing the cash flow and the home business license and some of those pieces. It's not 100% that I'm in the zone enjoying everything I do, but I know that for this season in my life, this is what I'm committed to, and I not only can make it work, I am making it work. I'm figuring out ways to thrive as a solopreneur.
Yeah. And it's really great to see that, right? Because I think this is a great story for a lot of people that would almost think that, well, I'm just an employee. I would never be able to build my own business. But I think time and time again, we can prove with examples like yours that it is possible. If you have a passion for something, if you have a skill for something, you can make it happen and you can make it your own. And I think that's an important thing to share with people here.
Yeah. And I know it's not for everybody. Not everybody has the self-discipline or the space in their home, whatever it takes. Like a lot of things had to line up for me in order to do this. But what I would encourage for your listeners is really discern, is this something I want to pursue? And I was given some freedom from the time I left Stanford until I fully launched that this is what I'm doing. Was not quite a year, it was maybe 8 or 9 months. But I was in the inquiry of, is this what I want to do? Does this draw me? And I did a lot of courses and workshops and coaching with other people as I made this choice. It was not a whim that I did this, but it was a thoughtful next step for my career.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Now, JD, if you look at what you do in your business, right? We always say if you want to grow as a business, you need to make sure that you actually are pretty unique in what you do, because otherwise you're just the same as your competitors. So how would they even want to choose between one or the other? So tell me, JD, what makes you so special? What makes you so unique? Why would somebody go with your business?
Couple of answers to that question. One is when I am with a client, when I'm in an engagement, when I'm coaching somebody individually, or I'm developing a keynote to to take into a workshop, I am fully all in. There is nothing that I can provide that is off the shelf, if you will. And so everything I do is customized, it's tailored. It is at a medium to high price point, and I acknowledge that. But I tell people, it will cost you this much for this engagement, but you will be very satisfied that what I create and produce is distinctly for your organization. And I will use, I'll reuse slides, I'll use examples or stories or video clips that I've used in different places, but I'm always very thoughtful and very tailored about what I bring into an organization is designed specifically for that group. And I think that sets me apart from many of the speakers that I see out there that have a repertoire, but that kind of just show up and do, the customer service seminar that they've done everywhere with, an opening slide that's different or an activity that's different. So that's one way that I think I really set myself apart. The other way, and I'm thinking of your particular following with the work that you've done at technology, I am able to fully be present as an out gay white man. And I bring my full self into everything that I do, whether it's talking about my kids or having them interrupt me in a workshop. My husband and I co-produce events from time to time together. And I am not only fully out, but I'm able to be a conduit inside of organizations for people in the LGBTQ community and people who are not, in a way that as an outsider, I can be able to do that. So I think those are probably the two areas that set me apart the most from other people that are also out in the field.
That's a good point, yeah. Especially the part of the LGBTQ plus, that's something, of course, we also focus on with technology. And I always ask the question, and you alluded already to it, but how important or how did it help or maybe blocked you in a way to build your business?
It's funny, I've been thinking about that question since you posed it in the prep for this conversation. And all I can say is if it has been a block for my business, I'm not aware of it. If there's somebody that doesn't want to hire me because, he's too gay, they haven't given me that feedback. And so I don't believe it has been a block in any way. And in fact, I think it is an asset for a couple of reasons. One, there's nothing that I hide. I'm fully present, and I don't spend any energy trying to manage my reputation with somebody to keep something siloed or keep something out. Like, I can just fully be there, and all of my energy goes to supporting the client and the engagement. Additionally, I'm in the process. You may have seen this on my LinkedIn profile. I'm in the process. I'd love to serve on a board of a publicly traded company or privately held company here in the US or in Europe. And I've gone through the certification process to have that certification. And I'm now searching for where's a board that my gifts and talents would add value and that I would be able to, expand my compensation for board service. And many of our boards of our companies around the world need to be more diverse. They need a gay voice at the table. They need a lesbian voice or a African-American voice or a trans voice. And so those of us who can bring a distinct level of diversity and own being a little bit of a token or a little bit of a representative of our community, we not only need a seat at the table, we need a voice in the room. And so I have seen that my gay identity has been an asset for organizations that have wanted to look at me as a board candidate.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's really powerful that we can have that role, right? And I think a lot of people in our community, if they feel like it's something that would block them, if they feel like maybe people don't want to work with me, then here again is the proof that you should think otherwise. You should think the other way around. Like, because I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, we have a way to do things differently, right? And that already makes us unique and makes us more powerful than anything. So I love that you said that. Now, JD, you mentioned your husband and that you're going to provide some events. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's also an exciting new move for your business as well, right?
It is. So I'm blessed. The man I'm married to for 15 years this month, Ken Daigle. He and I. So his background is he was a Broadway performer, choreographer, assistant director for his first career, and so 25 years of performing around the world, and has remarkable stage presence and ability as a communicator in front of a room. So about 10 years ago, he and I started doing a 3-day weekend workshop for YPO, Young Presidents Organization, that we've done both here in the States as well as in Dubai, on how to be an effective communicator. I handle the strategy and the content, and he handles the stage presence and the voice and movement. Together we do storytelling, and we built a fairly solid 2-day curriculum experience for leaders that we've offered inside of YPO and a couple of other organizations. Well, in 2023, we've decided to do that as a public offering, and we're offering it as a 2-day workshop in April in Kansas City, which is right in the center of the US, so easy for people to fly in. We've got a great conference facility and hotel space that is incredibly affordable. And we also hope to do that here in the Bay Area and in the New York area, so that we can offer an East Coast, West Coast, and Midwest offering. With your viewers, we would love to come to Europe and do something in Europe as well. But what we're hoping is, both in our partnership as a couple with raising 3 kids, and our professional experiences and expertise, to be able to give people a really valuable 2-day experience, so that they can become more effective in the speaking, the storytelling, the sales, or the training that they do. And I'm excited to add that as an offering in 2023.
Yeah, that looks really amazing, and I'm gonna check it out. You never know if I make my way up to the US again.
You would always be welcome, Stefan.
Yeah, and you've been part of the Queer Business Conference this year, in the beginning of the year, where you also did a session around communication. And this event, what you're going to do, also brings people more knowledge and more tools to be a better communicator. But let's look at it. Like, what is a good communicator for you? What does that mean, actually?
I look at, are you able to communicate in a way that drives people to take an action you want them to take? Now, this could be sales, but this could be voter registration. This could be thinking differently about how you use your car and how you interact with the environment. This could be embracing a set of principles around parenting. This could be purchasing a book. So at the heart of everything that I do, I go back to the AIM model, which was developed by 2 of my colleagues, Mary Munter and Lynn Russell. Who is your audience, and what is your intent? Anything that I communicate, I've got to be clear who it's going out to, and in what way it's going out to them, what's going to inspire that group to take action, and what's the action I want them to take. Once I know my A and my I, my audience and my intent, then I can create my message, whether it's a story or a website or an email or a town hall meeting. And the mistake too many leaders make is they jump immediately to the message they want to share, without slowing down to think, who needs to hear it, and how do I make it easy for people to take that action? So for me, a good communicator is not just somebody who's polished and has good eye contact, has good body language and gestures. Those are all important. But are they able to communicate in a way that makes it easy for people to take the action they want them to take? And that, to me, that's what is communicating with mastery.
And I guess that's also applicable to not just a person, but an organization as well, right? It's not, because if I think about what we do with technology, I've always found it really difficult at times to create a message that connects and that connects with the right people, first of all, and also that makes them understand what we actually do, because we do a lot of things. We can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But how can you create that kind of message that sticks? And I can say that that's not easy. So I'm glad that I know you, JD, right? That you can help us with that. But it's definitely something that a lot of people can use and can.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Stefan. It can happen at an individual level. It can happen at a team level. Yeah, I've worked with a team of individuals inside of a large high-tech company, but the team needed to communicate internally better. And it can happen at an organizational level. And the brands that are really successful, the individuals that are really successful, are the ones that see the necessity and value of powerful communication.
Absolutely. If you just look at some of the leaders out there or the influencers, like Simon Sinek, like how he creates stories and how he can bring across a message that's super, super powerful, right? And I love to see that. Yeah, and I want to be better at that as well, 100%. So I'm definitely gonna call you back, JD, after this to improve on that. JD, we're almost at the end of our podcast here, so I already want to thank you for your time. But before we go, I always ask this last question to our guests. JD, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me making a difference for the individuals and teams that I work with, to help them communicate effectively, relate authentically, embrace life fully, to be able to be the catalyst or the conduit that people do that when I work with them. And for me to be able to do that and have my full focus and ability on being able to be a dad, a partner, a contributor in my community. And so for me, it's twofold. It's what I can do out in the world and what I can bring home to my family.
Perfect answer.
Thank you. Thank you for
you.
what you do in technology and what you do for queer leaders who are trying to get a stronger footing on the businesses that they want to lead and create and manage. And thanks for including me in this conversation today.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. And yeah, if people want to know more about you, they go to jdschramm.com, right?
Yes, that's the easiest place. From there, they can get my contact info. They can look at my book. They can look at the workshop in April. Everything's available there, and that's the easiest place to find me on the web. Perfect. Go check it out. JD, thank you again for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening or watching, and we will see each other very soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.